Good evening. Welcome back, everybody. It is a crazy day of Counter-Strike that we're watching right now here at IEM Sydney. The first day of this one, and right now, not only for us, but also on the mainstream,
can we just...
everything is happening.
Renegades and FaZe are in triple overtime.
Yeah, we've been clustered around a TV in the office watching that match in the break of our match. So it's just Counter-Strike heaven right now here in Sydney. But for us, what we're focusing on, SK Gaming versus Grayhound. It's into map 3. Not only did we not expect to be seeing SK Gaming down in the lower bracket this early on in the piece, we also did not expect to be seeing them potentially being forced out of the tournament this early on in the piece. Now, again, Grayhound did not really get too close there on Cache, but they did win map 1. So I don't want to call this one too early, but I feel like it's going to be another close map.
I feel like it has to be at this point. It all comes down to, essentially, like you said earlier in the series, a best of 1. Yeah. This is it. And SK, we've said this before, but I really want to repeat this storyline because it blows my mind. SK, on the verge of elimination, are our defending IEM Sydney champions from last year. They beat FaZe 3-1. And now FaZe are losing to Renegades. SK might go out to Grayhound. Like, what the hell is this?
It's like, I mean, I think the bias is showing through a little bit here.
Right. Renegades aren't losing to FaZe.
Renegades is not losing to FaZe. Well, they might be. I'm not sure what the scoreline is right now. But also, to say SK Gaming is on the verge of elimination maybe is a little bit of an unfair thing to say as well, because Grayhound is also on the verge of elimination here. Both those two teams have one map left to play, potentially, here in IEM Sydney. So, for now, it's just a massive, massive moment. Like a huge moment for Grayhound if they come away with a victory here, but an absolutely tragic moment for SK Gaming if they don't come away with a victory here. It's everything to lose for SK and everything to gain for Grayhound.
Exactly, and that's why I say SK on the verge of elimination, because of course we know the Grayhound are too, but it doesn't... okay, I don't want to say it doesn't matter as much for Grayhound, but in terms of the storyline, in terms of where these teams are internationally, Grayhound are like top of APAC. I'm not sure where they sit on HLTV, but I think they're like towards the top 30, right?
Yeah, somewhere.
SK were top 1 for a lot of like the last 18, well, going back 6 months, like the previous 18 months from that, SK were top 1 a lot of the time. They won last IEM. For them now to be even this close to elimination is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's unimaginable, really. It's preposterous. How many words do I want to pull out of my hat?
You got a thesaurus going?
It's not a position that we expected to be in here at all, and certainly not a position I don't think that Grayhound would have expected to be in either. They would have thought, well, we're probably going to be going up against Tyloo here in the lower bracket, which is a match that they have won previously on LAN as well. They would have been feeling fairly comfortable about that match, but then to know that they're going up against SK, like you said, the defending champions here at IEM Sydney, and still one of the best teams in the world. Right now, they're on a bit of a rocky road, but they are definitely still one of the best teams in the world. And that is really a tough ask right now for Grayhound. But it's got to be said, they're stepping up to the plate quite nicely. 16-13 on the first map, and that last one was, what, 16-11 or 16-12?
11, I think.
Yeah, I think it was 16-11. So two pretty close scorelines. Grayhound have definitely been testing SK.
Yeah, definitely so. Now, of course, coming into this third map, it could just be that SK wiped the floor like 16-3, but I don't think
would be
so
just
based
disappointing,
on what we've
I
seen,
think.
And it would be disappointing. I'd be disappointed if Grayhound got a 16-3. To be honest, like, this last map deserves to go 25 to 30 rounds, if not more. These previous two have been so close. We're moving into Overpass, which is a map that Grayhound are very comfortable on, albeit they haven't played internationally like SK have, but they've played it against APAC teams, certainly. And SK, of course, a long history on this map. Flashback to last IEM with Cold Zero getting that ridiculous triple spray against FaZe on B site from Monster, shutting down the entire post plant by himself. There's certainly a lot of fireworks that have been had on this map for both teams. So now, jumping into Overpass, map number 3, there's everything to play for.
This could be huge as well. I mean, if Grayhound come away with a victory here, I don't know what I'm going to say, but it's going to be something just... It's going to break my brain right now. But here we go. On to map number 3, like you said, Tim. It is Overpass. It is the last map to be played here at IEM Sydney for the loser of this one. Whoever loses is knocked out. The winner still has a tough road ahead of them in the lower bracket. And SK Gaming, they're starting off on the CT side. Both of these two teams will be comfortable on Overpass. But for Grayhound, I definitely think that it's a better map for them than Cache is.
2 sets of utility here for Grayhound. They've already used the HE to clear out Fountain. It does a big chunk of damage onto Fur. They take Connector equally quickly. They're looking to push up. Now that they've found that info, they're going to flood straight in onto Stewie. It's a bit messy, but they do find the frag, and Bolts has a lot to do.
How are you going to be feeling if you're Stewie in that situation? You just see 4 Ts. What a great shot, though, from Bolts. He can't follow it up, though, onto Gratisfaction as he does get dropped, and Gratisfaction so far having a good pistol round with 2 kills for himself. Where's the plant, though, for Grayhound? Gratisfaction just deciding to bide his time, and they're going to double peek. Dick Stacey does win the duel. It was dangerous. It was close. But in the end, Grayhound come away with another pistol. And I've got to say, Grayhound's pistols have actually been really good here. Their conversion rate against SK Gaming is something like 5-1 now, or?
Yeah, I think they're like 4 or
What's that?
4 or 5.
That's the 5th pistol round, so 4-1. I think it's 4-1.
4-1 or 3-2. Either way, they're definitely at the advantage in those pistol rounds. That one was very close, though. Like, I actually thought Fallen had a good shot at winning that, but unfortunately not quite.
Could have just as easily been Fallen coming away with that win as Dick Stacey.
Once again, it's an early tack pause out of Grayhound, and I think, again, this will be similar to what we saw last map, where they just want a sec after a bit of a chaotic round. They want a moment to chill out, for their coach to get some words in, and I think a lot of these at this point are just mental pauses. They're just mental resets, because there's not really too many tactics you can call after one pistol round. You can't say, oh, they're doing this, oh, they're doing that, because pistol round strategies often vary wildly from gun rounds, from ecos, from everything else. So most likely at this point is Grayhound just taking a second to breathe, relax after a bit of a chaotic round, because the last thing that they want to do against a team of SK's caliber is to get flustered. At this point, you just need to chill.
And they definitely don't want to lose to this force buy of SK Gaming either. Grayhound have actually been pretty good on their anti-force buys and anti-ecos so far today. They've only dropped the 1, and that's been what's been a big proponent of them staying in this matchup. But for SK Gaming to come away with the pistol now, like, this would be a really, really bad time for Grayhound to drop one.
It's a good nade to start off, and there's a lot of pressure in connector as well for SK. They might be able to sandwich Grayhound in here.
Bolts is playing close on short. Dick Stacey running with the molly out. Almost 2 kills there for Bolts, but he does run out of ammo. Malta does get overwhelmed in the connector as well. So Grayhound, they need to get the bomb down here, but it's going to be denied by Stewie. It's all going wrong right now for Grayhound. They just haven't been quick enough into the site. They haven't been good enough hitting their shots. And SK Gaming certainly have been the exact opposite. They've come away with some very, very good shooting. And Grayhound, they will be able to sneak their way up to the A bomb site and most likely be able to get a plant for free, but even still in the post plant at 2 versus 4.
It's been red. With
Urcast on 4 HP, can't say that I'm very confident about Grayhound here.
And Grayhound have to walk so that they don't make noise. On the other hand, SK don't care. They've got 4 players. They can run up connector, so they're going to be to this A bomb site a lot quicker than Grayhound want them to be.
Has to be Dexter.
Ro8's only just starting to come, but yeah, as you say, it must be Dexter here. There's already 2 players close. The others will be rotating. This is so difficult for Grayhound.
Fallen's also got a kit for SK, so they do have a bit more time to play with. Even if he goes down, it will be close to the A bomb site, and someone will be able to pick that one up. Dexter does get fur, but he sacrifices so much HP, and SK Gaming, this is well and truly within their grasp. Now Dexter goes down, just Urcast, and the bomb not even really planted for him. coldzera gets the kill anyway, and SK Gaming will come away with the force by Grayhound. That's not how they wanted this one to go.
That all comes down to SK taking connector, though. The fact that they get in there and drop or get into connector with all that map control, combined with the early damage from the nades, means that they're instantly in positions to get through and trade to flank Grayhound incredibly quickly. And even then, in the 4v2 and Grayhound walk all the way up A, SK run 2 players up immediately because they don't need to worry about making noise. They know they have the advantage. And from there, they can close it out. So Grayhound, the 1-1 comes through for them. They'll be forced back onto the pistols. This time, they're not going to force in. Normally, we see both teams forcing until one team wins 2 in a row, but Grayhound are going to give up the ghost here and going for molly. Good lord, that's a lot of damage. This can get like 3 kills.
Yep, it will. Good guess, Tim. Bolts has just gone and absolutely made a mincemeat of Grayhound. 2-1. Very easy anti-eco for SK. Now Grayhound will be able to get the buy through.
That round, actually, you know what? They'll be happy with that. They lost 3 players to a grenade. That means no bonus SMG money for those 3 players.
Yeah.
It's like how we used to see, we don't see it in Go so much, but in older Counter-Strike, or older editions of Counter-Strike, a lot of the times we'd see if a molly was thrown on an anti-eco, players would just jump in it and die because it's better than giving up
the extra
kills
cash.
to the SMG. Exactly. You only give away, what, $300 per kill as opposed to $600 or $900 for an SMG or shotgun.
Yeah, definitely. Grayhound, though, have not started off this first half the way they would have wanted to. They got the pistol, but having dropped those last couple of rounds, it does mean that they're fighting from behind from the outset. On their T side, though, they haven't had too much success throughout this series. I mean, they've been okay, but I feel like the CT side, I mean, obviously on Mirage was really where the big proponent of their success was. Let's see if Grayhound can change my opinion, though. Here on to Overpasses. Their T side, well, it's working okay now with this gun round, at least. First kill goes their way.
But it's difficult to find Fur here with Dick Stacey on the low HP. They've at least found the first entry, but they sacrifice an awful lot of HP in the doing. So now Dick Stacey might just spot this one out jumping around. Fur knows he's here now, but the trade should be coming. No, the timing's missed from Urcast. He could have got the immediate trade, but now Dick Stacey or Fur is ready for it. At least Urcast hits that one and the second.
Well, Fallen not quite landing the shots that he needed to there. Gave the opportunity over to Urcast, and Urcast was very, very happy to oblige. That's a great molly into Coldzera as well. He can't get anything. Now Bolts, though, what can he do in a 1 versus 3? Might be able to get rid of Dexter just after that bomb plant does go down, but position now known, and Gratisfaction is there and wary, ready for the trade. 2 up for Grayhound. And it's enough money for SK to buy through here. Grayhound, if they get another one, will be forcing SK back.
This is exactly what I wanted from this map, though. This sort of
backwards and forwards.
Backwards and forwards.
Dirty.
Craziness. It is. Like, the previous 2 maps have been so close. This is what we'd expect from these 2 teams at this point, which is unbelievable to be saying that coming into this matchup. But the change-ups here for SK, they've invested into a double orb. Fallen's glass cannon. Stewie has very limited utility, but they do have the big green guns on their backs. And Stewie's going to be looking for the first pick in towards Fountain. Has the backup of Fur 2 on that rifle. Grayhound, though, going to be playing this one slowly. Got some control in towards Monster. Ooh. Stewie didn't take a shot, but should have been spotted. This walk contact play into B might work out.
Yeah, well, the grenade does hit one of those Grayhound players. SK Gaming definitely aware that they are there. Although both the Grayhound guys do manage to get out of Monster alive. But look at the positioning right now of Grayhound. The map control is not really there. They've got control of Underpass, and Dexter's in Dirty Water, which is okay. But there's nothing up towards the A bomb side, and Grayhound have just got a minute left to work with. So while there's a lot of time left on the clock, it is going to take them a while to progress on forward here, unless they go to the B bomb side, and SK have already seen them lurking around there.
So with time ticking away, Grayhound still playing this one very slowly. Bomb not committed anywhere back in T-spawn. Hoping that SK will give them a pick, but it's not going to happen. Instead, it's going to be a bit of an execute into the B bomb site, and Grayhound are going to look to take territory here, but Fallen's already saying no.
Well, Dexter says yes as he trades out Fallen. Dexter, another kill onto Coldzera. Just hitting so many great entries here for Grayhound, and that will be the bomb down. Fur and Stewie, the retake potential for them here onto the B bomb site is negligible. They've decided they're better off saving, which is not a bad option, given the money right now for SK. But that looked really, really good for Grayhound.
They've lost an orb there as well, and I think a big thing for that is that Dexter, of course he hits some nutty shots, but a bigger thing is he manages to limit Fallen to 1.
Yeah.
If you think about all of the massive highlight frags from Fallen that we see on CT side, it's when he's able to have a bit of time to reposition, find a slightly different angle and off timing and get 2, 3, 4 frags from essentially 1 spot, locking down anywhere with an orb. But he's not able to do that here as Dexter comes through with a great pair of entries.
Urcast lucky to get away there with 7 HP.
Yeah, but stay alive he will. HP gets restored at the round, so it matters not how you survive, just if you do.
Yep.
And for SK, they've still got the M4 and the AWP saved through, but not the money to rebuy.
That's the thing is, do they pistol armor behind this? Because it's most likely a double eco anyway for them. Or perhaps not. They have lost, what, now a couple in a row? So, yeah, okay, they can actually buy next round. Still potential for them to even win this one. And all in the hands of Stewie. It's been fairly potent, actually, throughout this matchup, and Fur, certainly on Mirage at least, was very, very good for SK. Malta's opened up, though, onto Stewie, and that limits the firepower for SK on the CT side significantly. However, the AWP has been retrieved by Fallen, but he doesn't have any armor.
That said, it's an AWP, so armor doesn't really matter. You either hit your first shot and you win, or you lose your first shot and you die, whether you have armor or not. And Grat opening up onto Coldzera just makes this even more doable for them. And he used some util now to take some possession, some map control flashbangs into long. Grat's holding for the push. But it all needs to be Fur here with this M4. It needs to be Fallen with the AWP. They're both set up for where Grayhound are going, but again for Grayhound, they're just poking for map control at this point. 5 players up, they've got 2, almost 3 frags. Look at how low Bolts is. They're not going to be rushing into these players in bathrooms anytime soon, I shouldn't think.
But again, for Grayhound, they don't want to be letting these rounds get too close to the 0 seconds mark. That was their undoing in quite a few rounds there on Cache, and could be well again here. Position of Fallen is very, very close, and he's in a pretty precarious spot, but it's the kind of position where he might be able to come away and win this round for SK. Losing Fur, though, that is going to hurt. And now it's all onto Fallen. With that AWP, he'll be able to get Mol to the trade to come from Urcast, but no, Fallen is given the second opportunity. And he'll get 2 for 20 seconds on the clock here. Grayhound, they will just get it done in the end. It was, but for a moment, a little bit dangerous for Grayhound.
Bit questionable for SK, though, that Fur isn't watching that angle, because Fallen, even he was facing away behind the smoke, but he would have heard them spamming it.
Yeah.
Surely might have had the idea, but of course, they're not in the players' heads. There is a reason that they play this game professionally and I do not, so there are things they know that I don't, and no doubt reasons that that could have been the correct play, but Grayhound will come away with it in the end.
I just want to quickly update you, Tim, on the results.
Oh my god, I'm nervous.
Renegades take the series 2-1
Are you kidding
Overpass.
me?
25-22 on that final map.
Jesus.
So just to keep everyone aware in case they weren't already, although I'm sure everyone was probably already on the ball before we were, to be honest. Still, that's a big moment for Australians. Yes, it means that Renegades are now secured a place in the playoffs at the arena.
Which is ridiculous. So for now, they'll play another best of 3. If they win that, they're in the semis. If they lose it, they're in quarters. But regardless, they're in playoffs, which is what matters for them.
Which is, yeah, again, huge. We missed out on an Aussie team last year at the arena stages by an inch, really. But at least one now. I'll focus back in on the Grayhound versus SK action, as SK have got a lot of control of the map here. Grayhound have not really pushed too far right now on their gun round, and SK Gaming with these pistols could pose a threat, and indeed they will. Urcast goes down. Dick Stacey on his own here. Needs to be wary.
Managed to retrieve the AK-47 onto Fur as well, but in the meantime, contact play coming out onto B. Dexter waiting for a flashbang here. Won't be there. Instead, he's just going to have to walk out and take contact, and what they won't know is that Bolt is deep short. They will get the frag onto Fallen, but they're still got to worry about that short presence. So now the hit will come in. Grayhound do have the utility to open up this bomb site and make it doable for themselves, and now the headshots are starting to come, but Bolt has found the frags. It's into a 3v3, and the CZs can definitely make this happen.
Yeah, certainly. Grayhound need to be very careful in this round, and it's not just the CZs that can make it happen now, Tim. It's 2 AKs in the hands of SK. Malta spotted them out, though, coming through the monster tunnel. He can't quite land the spray down, but in the end, Gratisfaction is there to help him out. Now Dexter versus Fur in a 1v1. Fur's got no idea, and Dexter will be able to close the round out there, but it was a little bit too close for comfort if you're Grayhound. Regardless, though, they're up 5-2, so even if they're getting close rounds, they're getting rounds on the board, and that's the difference between 5-2 here, and what we saw on Cache, where SK was the one winning these clutch rounds.
So that will certainly help, but again, the round is expensive for Grayhound. That one was against full CZs, and like you've said several times this series, when SK eco, they do huge damage. When Grayhound eco, they don't get as much done. But at this point, we're in map number 3. The rounds on the board are what matter. And Grayhound, they're going to be going very, very fast speed. The Molotov for short misses, and SK will instantly capitalize. 2 players into that. If Grayhound are caught out by that, they're going to be heartbroken, and Bolts has found 2 kills to start it off.
Yeah, not a good start to the round at all for Grayhound. Bomb is dropped as well out the exit of Monster, not the side that Grayhound would want it. They've got no real choices now, but they have to commit to that B side. SK Gaming, they know it. They've stacked the side as well, and it's just going to come down to Grayhound hitting some magical entries here to even make it possible for them to take this B site. Urcast, though, having a look in, and maybe they can retrieve this bomb and get out if they wanted to, but they're going to commit into the B bomb site by the looks of things. The grenade goes down. Dexter and Urcast take a huge chunk. Gratisfaction only able to achieve 1 on the entry so far. They've lost Dexter. Coldzera will keep himself alive, courtesy of the smoke. But 2 versus 3 now. Gratisfaction making things happen, but not for much longer, as Fallen will trade him out. And Urcast, well, he's got time to work with.
Does indeed, but he's going to peek straight into them. He gets the bomb, but they're around him on all sides. And while he has a bit of time here, Spurs going to push through and close it out. So a great round for SK there. And even if Bolts doesn't get the double kill on the monster push there, I think they would have caught Grayhound out anyway because their short Molotov missed. That allows SK to get that short control. And when you molly it that early, the idea is to stop the CTs pushing so that you don't have to worry about that angle. With that molly missing, it's an angle that you're most likely not going to check, but they'll be shooting you from it anyway. So I think SK would have won that round no matter what. But regardless, they do it off the work of Bolts.
Yep. Grayhound, though, with the tactical timeout. It's a good time for it, though, I feel, Tim. Even though they're up 5 and 3, you would be thinking, well, why does Grayhound need a timeout here? The answer is SK Gaming, their money is still not amazing. And if Grayhound win this round, if they're thinking some sort of crazy strategy up right now, concocting something, it could really balloon out that first half in their favor. So this is actually a very, very critical round, a very important round for not only SK to try and get their money going, but for Grayhound to start to turn this first half into something really, really dangerous.
And even more than that, if Grayhound lose this, their money's gone too. So this is breaking point for both teams' economies for whoever manages to get the win. Yeah. And I would say that, say this round goes to a 1v1, no matter who wins it, both teams are going to be pretty in the hole. So this needs to be, in terms of the long-term play of this half, for money to be established well, this needs to be a decisive victory for either side. And if it goes to a 1v1, a 2v2, something like that, then I think we're going to be in this forced buy nonsense for just a little bit longer, Jordan. But for now, connected control has been taken quickly by Grayhound. They've got a bit of util if they want to go for this take B, and indeed that will be the play. They've forced Fallen back too. Yeah,
and without Fallen getting a frag, that is very good news for Grayhound. Typically, they have struggled to get into the B bomb site without losing an opening pick over to SK Gaming, and Fallen has been a proponent of that with the AWP. But for Grayhound, this time they remain unscathed, more or less. A few players have been tagged down a little bit. SK Gaming still just waiting on the bomb sites now for Grayhound. Grayhound, they really do like to slow things down in the mid-round, don't they?
They do indeed. They've done it again here, but they do have connected control, so they've got some time, got some positioning to be able to move around this map. Still the double AWP to face down and figure out, excuse me.
Oh, this is dangerous. Fallen though.
Missing another one. That gives them an opportunity.
Yeah, it was a good shoulder peek from whoever it was for Grayhound. As SK Gaming now, they have to hold off the onslaught of Grayhound on the A bomb site. Malta just goes running out in the middle of nowhere. Fer gets an easy frag. Fallen playing the crossfire here with Stewie. He's going to be dropped by Urcast, and Stewie goes down to the Molotov as well. Well, it was a messy round really there for Grayhound, but they get the job done. The dirty work is done, and now they have to hold off the 2v2 post plan.
Plant's going to come in truck as well, and Dick Stacy might get a little bit too aggro here, but has to fall off it. Gives himself away, and Urcast is going to have to do a lot of the work here in this one, I think.
Well, they still think that there's going to be potentially a player coming from bathrooms. Urcast shuts down coldzera, and a lot of damage being done there by Dick Stacy. Urcast peeks out and wins the duel. That's the reset to the economy there for Grayhound. But, Tim, this is exactly what you were talking about.
That's the 1v1, and the money's in the bin for both sides now. It is obviously worse for SK without getting the win, and at least Grayhound get the bomb down, which gives them $800 extra per player. But the buy is still not good. They've got the AWP save through, which they've dropped over to Grat. Urcast able to get himself an AK, but everyone else is on not great weapons, and now SK have called their first tack pause.
Yeah, and coldzera has decided to invest in there. I'm not sure if that was a team decision or if he's just said, stuff it, we're doing this. Because SK have now decided to call a timeout, and they must be discussing something. They surely should be buying up now behind this investment from coldzera. You're not going to just have one player on an MP9 and $250 while the rest of you guys are saving. So, well, this is a pretty crazy matchup here. Onto Overpass now. Grayhound actually have the advantage. I will say that Grayhound are doing better than SK at the moment. But it's still at a tipping point where SK could absolutely come back into this first half, especially if they win this round. That'll reset the economy of Grayhound and really boost the economy of SK.
Cold is pointing at his monitor and talking to the admin, so that's a misbuy.
Oh, you know what it could be? Calling the timeout.
Yeah, so that's actually a good point. So for those who don't know how this works, in Counter-Strike, a default bind is if you hit F1, it auto-buys, and it has a priority of weapons that it'll auto-buy, starting at the rifles, going down through SMGs, shotguns, that sort of thing. And it goes based on how much money you have. So when you call a timeout, you also hit F1. So what I'm guessing happened is that Cold hit F1 too quickly. So instead of voting yes on the timeout, he's bought himself an MP7, which means that now this pause is here, so they'll do the match reset or match medic quickly, get that SMG out of his hands because...
Well, do they? Is that... I'm not sure how it works.
Well, there's been no damage done, so I assume they can reset. That's the standard rule set. So
yes.
I don't see why not. There's no other reason this would be paused right now. And given that he was pointing at his screen talking to an admin, I can only assume that is the go.
Yeah, right. Well, I thought it might have been an intentional buy from coldzera just to say, let's try and get a wriggle on here. But
didn't he have no armor, though?
No, he had head armor and the SMG. So, it's been reset, but he's got himself a UMP instead. So, SK, they still want to decide to buy behind it. It's just a bit of a different buy there for coldzera. So, no harm done.
The UMP has a bit more armor pen.
Yeah, definitely. Probably a better gun in this situation, you would say, for SK. Regardless, though, Grayhounds, they have the better of the buys.
And they know that the last time that SK were in this sort of situation, the thing that won it for them was the fact that SK played connector control. So the reason that Molotov is there is to stop that, because with connector control, and the last time this round was a thing, SK could split out onto the B bomb site, cut off the rotation from Grayhound, ruin the post plant for them, and even take the round win. So now this is still dangerous for Grayhound as they are going into the stack.
It's very dangerous indeed for
Needs to be a
Grayhound.
flash here.
They don't want to lose this round over to SK, and already some damage being done. Fur gets 2 with the CZ. Urcast needs to trade both of them out, just spraying wildly with the AK. In the meanwhile, Fallen's gotten one as well. This is still dangerous for Grayhound, but Dick Stacey is stabilizing. Not for long, though. The bomb is dropped, and it's all on Urcast with 18 HP. SK Gaming, they might have pulled the rug out from Grayhound here. Indeed they have, Stewie. What a great shot with the CZ. SK Gaming, that was the round that they wanted, the round that they needed.
And that works entirely because Grayhound decide to play the contact and dry peek instead of flashing. If there'd been a flashbang there into Fountain, Grayhound go through, there's 3 blinded players with not great guns, that's easy 3 kills. They contact it, the players swing out wide as soon as that first player, as soon as the Grayhound guys take contact with the guy in bathrooms, the CZ swing out wide, almost nothing you can do unless you hit immediate headshots, which Grayhound can't. And that gives the round away. So they are 2 to the good, but the money is in the bin now. That hard-won round that they got with the clutch, the reset that did to the money of SK, immediately undone. And now it's them on the pistols and the rush.
Yeah, Stewie is just going to mop this up with glee, really. Gets 2 easy kills on the spray down. Grayhound didn't put any money into this one, so it's just a farm round for SK, and they do get that quite happily with a couple of frags onto Fur with the SMG. Money looking a little bit better now for SK than it was a couple of rounds ago, but for Grayhound, their money's still not really quite there. Gratisfaction can't buy an AK, so it is just going to be the pistol armor by the looks of things for Grayhound, and it really hurts for Grayhound, I think, losing these couple of rounds. It's resulted not just in that first round, but now really 3 rounds that it could have completely changed the course of this first half.
Losing that anti-eco to the CZs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing where in anti-ecos, ideally you want to have the better gun, so you should be able to trust your ability to aim, right? But you never want to have to do that. You always want to be in a situation where you flash them or you've smoked them or something where you have the advantageous fight. This time, the dry contact has worked out for them. They've managed to, well, that time wasn't dry, that was a grenade, but still, they've managed to find the first kill, but they are on terrible weapons up against the rifles of SK.
You say terrible weapons, but they can still get the job done. They have a couple of smokes here, so if they want to go into one of the bomb sites and execute, or sort of a mini execute, is possible. Also the flashbang there for Malta. And Grayhound, with the player advantage, they just need to trade effectively. It sounds easy when you say it like that, doesn't it? But it is doable.
It's much easier on CT to win a CZ's Echo, though. CZ Eco, because you can play in corners, wait for them to run into you, whereas Grayhound have to make contact. They've drawn out a bit of utility out of these B players, but it's rifles up against pistols. There is actually a bit of util here on Grayhound, though. They've got 2 smokes and a flashbang with which to make this one work.
The
but
benefit
they're going
is,
through connector up to A.
For Grayhound, when they enter a site, it will be 5 versus 2. So they can just storm in and overwhelm with numbers. They're still hanging on to their utility, and SK Gaming, they've run out. Now Dexter is just watching that rotation. Fallen almost falls into the trap. Not sure who the trap would have been, though, for, whether it was going to be Dexter or for Fallen. One of them would have died, that's for sure. But into the A bomb site now go the rest of Grayhound. 4 versus 2. coldzera biding his time. Bomb will go down here for Grayhound, and Stewie's managed to get a good kill. In fact, the bomb might not go down. Dick Stacey does eventually get the job done, but kills do go the way of the CTs. Malta with this M4 needs to have the impact, and he flashes himself. Dexter can't get anything done. coldzera 2 with the USP. What a great round out from coldzera. 4 kills with the M4, completely shutting down Grayhound. That'll put us back at 6-6.
And the man who was the world's best, showing a bit of it in that round. But Grayhound, at least they get the bomb down. It's a bit of a misplay by Malta there to flash himself.
Yeah, a little bit.
What can you do? They will be able to get the rifles out here. Grat can even go for the AWP if he chooses to. So at least they've got themselves a good buy together with a whole bunch of utility as well. For SK though, the Galil staying through onto Bolt. And why not? It's a free rifle. It can still do work. Means that if they lose this round, he'll be able to drop for someone else and still buy. The Grayhound now starting off the round, taking some fountain control, flashing them back. That's Fallen. They've denied the line too, but there's a push coming up long immediately.
Indeed, and Fur was able to get the free kill onto Gratisfaction. No trade there for Dick Stacey. He did not have his gun out. The Incendiary's down. First flashed. Dick Stacey can't get the kill,
God.
though. Great work from Fur, and Fallen is getting rid of Malta as well. This round has fallen apart for Grayhound. SK Gaming starting to get a roll going here on the CT side. You can see they're pushing forward. They're dictating the pace of this game now, and Grayhound have to be playing reactively.
And this is where Fur is at his most dangerous. When he has the confidence to just push through and close out rounds, he's always been known as this very sneaky, aggressive player. That round was just balls to the wall aggressive. And that sort of thing is why when they had Phelps in the roster, there were certain maps that wouldn't work because Fur and Phelps would both play that aggressive sort of style. So if they both pushed and they both died, they left, for example, Inferno, they always left B very open if that happened to them, and that was quite a problem. But when Fur is on his own, and he's the only one who wants to get super aggressive like that, admittedly, he wasn't the only one. There was Fallen up there as well. But essentially, all Fallen was doing, even if he got a kill there, was just trying to buy time for Fur to do exactly that. And now look at this, where what? 12, 13 rounds in, and Grayhound only have 1 tack pause left. They've used 3 so far this half to try and stay in it.
Yeah, well, I guess better to use them than not. But for Grayhound Gaming, they are being quite liberal with their pauses. Still, they haven't been doing too poorly in this first half, despite the fact that they are down 7 and 6. 6 rounds on the T side of Overpass is not the worst kind of a scoreline.
Yeah, but given the way they started, they could have done better. That said, I think they'll still be happy with what they've got. What they won't be happy with is what they've got in terms of guns this round.
Yep.
Onto the CZs again, and it's a straight rush into B with a bit of an execute, but the damage is here.
Yes, indeed it is. Bolts, one with the Incendiary, one with the rifle, looking for some more, but he's not going to get it, as Urquharts will be able to trade him out. Still, for SK Gaming, this is looking like a very easy round. Grayhound have just run into their utilities. For the CT side, that makes holding the anti-force buy quite easy. Ace up now for SK. Could be 9-6, could be 8-7. It'll be a buy through for Grayhound.
It's a buy round they desperately need to convert. So for them, I think a default is in order. They know that a lot of these rounds they've been pushed. It's been Fallen trying to find a pick with the AWP, or it's been Fur running up long, or trying to get interconnected, doing all of this sort of thing. So for Grayhound, I think slow down, try and find yourself a pick or two on the players who might be pushing you. But this is a change up from SK. They're sending Fur over to B instead of A. It's actually only 1 player on the A bomb side. They're so confident the Grayhound are going to go B again that they've got Stewie getting aggro with the AWP, and that's it for A. If Grayhound go A right now, of course they cannot know what we do, but all they've got to deal with is Stewie if they do.
Again, Grayhound setting up very default, deciding not to push too aggressively. They've got Malta in the underpass, which has been the standard fare for Grayhound. This time just watching to see if there is any aggression out from SK Gaming on long. It's caught them off guard in 1 round. Not going to happen this time, but more so by the fact that SK is actually not pushing long, rather than Grayhound actually watching long.
And they're so scared of Fur being here. Taking control of it completely, but again, it's still only Stewie over here. SK have heard nothing, and so they're not confident rotating yet. Stewie's given them no info because he hasn't been handed any. Haven't heard anything over on B that leads them to think it's a fake or it's not. Now, though, the first grenades will go into A, and that immediately causes a 2-man rotate up. It'll be 3 players on the bomb side for SK.
Yeah.
And Grayhound might just have done enough. They're going back towards B.
It was a boost on the B side there for SK Gaming. They were looking in and making sure there was no one going, but Fallen does get the kill onto Dick Stacey. This might allow a little bit more time for SK to come across.
That's the bomb as well, so that means that SK are either going to rotate down to fight the site or flank. They know exactly what the play is for Grayhound with the bomb going down there.
Yeah, not a lot of time here for Grayhound. The entries need to be perfect, and they're far from it right now. In fact, it's all going the way of SK Gaming. 8 up on the board, could be 9 after this. Fallen misses a shot, though, and he'll be punished for it. Gratisfaction shuts him down. Now Cold Zera trying to hold the angle, but Gratisfaction comes up with another kill on the AWP. And 3 versus 1 as SK, they've just fallen apart here on this B bomb site. It's just Stewie left alive now here with the AWP, and Grayhound with a great chance of turning it into an 8 and 7. Indeed, they are able to do that. A crazy round coming out there from Grayhound. But at the end of the half, 8-7. We'll come back with the end of this incredible series after this break. Welcome back. It's been an incredible series here between SK Gaming and Grayhound. 8-7 at the end of the first half there on Overpass. As close as it gets, Tim. We could not have asked for a better final match to the day here of IEM Sydney. The first day, and we're already having games like this.
This series has been insane. There's been clutches left and right, individual brilliance. Speaking of which, it's Grat who saves that entire last round from the clutches of SK. Really, they knew when they spotted the bomb early on that it had to be a B hit. They sent flankers through, they sent everything, and Grat AWP down 4 in the end of it. Completely destroyed him. Now though, pistol round. Grayhound on the CT side, getting aggressive in towards Fountain, spotting out the info early, getting the smoke on Malta, but it's an aggressive B play out of SK immediately, and it's a retake setup on B.
It's a scary prospect for SK Gaming if Gratisfaction is going to be waking up here, especially on that CT side. The double AWP, so potent for Grayhound, but first order of the day is going to be getting that pistol round out of the way here, and Malta tasked with the tough work. He hasn't been able to land any shots there as Grayhound allow the B bomb site to go over the way of SK Gaming, and now a very tough retake ahead of them.
Got a smoke here for short to make some space for themselves, but it's still going to come down to the aim duels. That's Malta's smoke. He has the kit. Ideally, he wanted that for the bomb, but he's got to try and make some space with it, but they're making it work.
Well, somehow they're making it work. They still managed to hit all of these shots on the CT retakes. Dexter gets rid of Cold Zero, who was posing a bit of a problem, but now it is Bolts, and he still has a chance of actually winning this round. If he gets a shot onto the defuser, not so the case, though, and Grayhound, I mean, Tim, tell me, how does that happen? Like, they've got full control of the B bomb side, SK, and then Grayhound just waltz in and get 3 kills.
They had a smoke which blocked off short, which is where the last player ended up being, but that largely just comes down to Angels. I mean, SK had them crossfired in every single turn, but the fact that Grayhound managed to hit the shots is just works. I mean, there's not so much I can break down when they're hitting headshots like that, but this is Grayhound's last tactical pause, and again, it's after they win the pistol.
I don't get it. Like, okay, maybe the first couple of times, you know, you're really hyped up and you're going nuts, but now, surely, Grayhound have settled into this matchup, so that's not really a question about it anymore. Now they're just trying to figure out, I guess, maybe what they're trying to do on these anti-force buys.
I think that's very much what it is at this point. The first couple, especially with how crazy the pistol rounds were getting, I think they were mental resets, but at this point, it's we need to not lose this force buy. CZ rounds have been converted by SK at an alarming rate. Like, I think they must be only 1 or 2 CZ rounds that they've lost in this entire series. In 3 maps, they've won so many. So at this point, for Grayhound, it's got to be that conversion. And this time, it's not even really an anti-CZ round. With the money from the bomb plant, SK Gaming are doing exactly what they did last map. Instead of going for the AK's 3rd round, they fully invest into SMGs, CZs, and stuff here. And they try and reset their momentum onto Grayhound early, coming at him with an unexpected buy.
Well, I mean, you say unexpected, but for Grayhound at this point, surely now this is expected. SK have been forcing into these rounds where possible. The Grayhound again are running the same setup here, so backing themselves to retake the site, though. Malta drops off early. He's been flashed out and lucky to survive, I've got to say. No one from SK Gaming seemed to know where he was, and he was trapped behind the Molotovs. But SK, once again, they get themselves into the B bomb site. This is dangerous territory once more for Grayhound, as they just don't have the flank control just yet.
Still SK holding this bomb site, and the retake will now come in. The utility is good, but it's a 2-player reposition over to sit in this corner, and will Grayhound be ready?
What? How does Urcast get a shot across like that? I don't even know. SK Gaming, they are just not standing up to the aim of Grayhound right now. Bolts is going to be able to chime in with 1, but 1 is not nearly enough. Anyone going to get on the defuse? That's my question, Grayhound. Eventually, Urcast does, and he'll get there just in time. 9's up, though, for Greyhounds, and SK, they will have to save through this round, but this is a massive boost to the CT economy. Grayhound looking really good on 2 retakes, backing themselves to retake that B bomb site as well. It's a bold strategy, but they're making it work.
They are indeed, and that time, they do very well. They only lose the 1 gun in the retake there on the B side. Their retakes on B have been crazily good so far, admittedly, 2 rounds, but they've both been B retakes. They've both been pretty flawless. For SK though, the second bomb plant gives them all an extra $800 per player, as well as the 1900 from second round loss, so, or 1400, whatever, you know, money. Either way, they're going to go towards B. Ooh. Again, that's a good nade. The Molotov will slow them down as well. And for SK, they're onto a force buy here. They've got the potential to do the damage, but Grayhound are looking more and more confident. They need to not get too overzealous, but at the same time, definitely take the Angels that you can. Lurcast in a great spot.
Oh, he's going to spray down 2 runs out of ammo and will be traded out there. Unfortunately for Grayhound, Malta's been dropped in the monster tunnel as well, but the bomb plant denied there by Nick Stacey, who was quickly onto the side, and he gets a nice Angel there against Fallen as well. It could have gone a little bit awry there for Grayhound, but in the end, Overpass coming up with two pretty critical frags, allowing the rotation across from the CTs. And now Bolts, once again, is trapped behind a smoke, getting a bit of a sense of deja vu right now for him. It was a change up for the CT side, though. They had players in the site this time as opposed to playing for the retake.
And Bolts in the 1v3. Not much to do. Bomb down in the open. No utility. 45 seconds to work with, but SK, or Grayhound I should say, 3 players. Surely it's not happening. And Dexter, nice and sharp with that M4. And here's the thing. Normally 4th round is gun round. SK have forced up in the previous 2 rounds. So unless they want to force up again and keep the pressure on...
I don't think there's any point because that last round, Grayhound had a lot of guns coming
Exactly.
through.
I don't think there's any point, but I was going to say, unless they go for the force buy and keep the pressure up, there's no way they get the gun round out here. They're effectively, by going for those risky force buys, if they win them, they bring the map back into their favor, right? By getting a win early, potentially saving an M4 or 2 through, and then away you go. But by losing both of them, they've effectively pushed their own gun round back by a round or 2.
Yeah.
So they're going to go for just the pistols here. Grat's still on the scout, but with enough money to upgrade to the AWP, and Overpass finds a wallbang.
It's not the end of the world, though,
water.
for SK. You know, they've got a lot of time still to play with this one. Grayhound is going to be up to 11. SK will get a buy-through next round, though. So there's still rounds here that SK Gaming can let slip before things to get really, really problematic for them. The worry for me, though, is that they're allowing Grayhound to really work their way nicely into this CT side, and that was a big problem that we saw on Mirage. When Grayhound got going, it seemed almost impossible for SK to even get into the sites, and I'm kind of getting a little bit of a sense of that again here on Overpass.
They're certainly looking good so far, especially with the fact that Grat will be able to upgrade to the AWP next round, and that no one has been lost this round for Grayhound. The bomb is down in a pretty terrible position for SK, really. It's inside the A bomb site at A long. They've got to try and find some damage if they can, but the only players
into this half, because at 8 and 12, when you're forced back onto either a force buy or an eco or a pistol armor, and Grayhound maybe gets to 13, are you going to be able to come back from that, SK?
I don't know, to be honest, but they are on the CZ round, and these are rounds they have a dangerously high conversion rate on in this series here against Grayhound. They've done so much damage in them. So for Grayhound, the thing that's been catching them out when they had these on the CT side, on the T side, when SK were on the CT side with these, was Grayhound dry peeking angles, getting caught out by multiple CZs, and then being unable to trade after they lose the first 1 or 2 frags. Now that they're on the CT side, the CZs have to come to them. So that's something that Grayhound can bring into play here. Keep their distance. Don't let the CZs close the angles on you. They do have a bit of util to work with, but if it comes to it, let them plant, play the retake together, and don't give up any info early on.
Now, the problem with playing the retake, though, is that that could allow SK to get some close, cheeky corner angles. Admittedly, though, SK haven't been too great holding off the retakes on this B bomb site for Grayhound. So we'll see how this one goes as SK make their way into the site. Overpass does a dispatch of Stewie, but sacrifices a lot of his HP. In the meanwhile, in all of that flurry of craziness, the bomb has been planted, and SK have managed to find a couple of frags here. It's 3 versus 3. Dexter, though, doing the dirty work right now for Grayhound. He has gotten rid of another player, but he himself is under a little bit of pressure. Grayhound need to get this next frag, though. If they allow Bolts to do some work, which they are, it's going to make the tough job ahead here for Dexter. 1 versus 2. And SK Gaming, they come away with another one, Tim. Grayhound, that's not the kind of round that they can be affording to lose here. SK afforded a second breath of air into Overpass here.
That was going fine, really, that retake, up until the player on site gets 2.
It was just the problem was Greyhounds
happens,
had
like,
so many low HP players.
That's the thing, because it was even trades up until that point, but as soon as one player on either side gets 2, it makes it uneven, and the 1v2 is just not doable, unfortunately, in the end for Dexter. He gets 1, but 1's not enough. They will get back on the buy here, but that really could have been a big nail in the SK coffin for Greyhound if they could have taken it. That would have been 13 rounds for them. The money limited again for SK. But as it is, instead, SK will go onto the full AK round. They've got the M4 that first saved through, which does, as you can see, force out the head armor. So that's why every single CT has head armor here. They're also worried about a potential Mac 10, something like this. But it doesn't matter either way. It's interesting, we can see straight through the floor from this angle. But SK will be slowing it down. They're over towards B, and Greyhound, at this point, just need to chill. They do have info on Long, a player in bathrooms, so they know it's not a fast push A. But other than that, they've got to play these crossfires and win them. There's the first flashbang out, but I think it was a team flash.
Yeah, I think that was as well. For Greyhound, though, just biding their time here. So too are SK. This was very similar to what we saw on Greyhound's T side. They let the mid-round play out quite slowly. For Greyhound, they have a lot of information here, though. With Dexter, Gratisfaction, rotation is looking like it will come across here for SK Gaming, but by the time they get up to that A bomb site, by the time they clear out bathrooms, they won't have much time to work with.
Dexter here behind this smoke might just be the difference maker for this round. There's not much time to clear angles when you're this time poor, and if SK let this corner go unchecked.
Well, that's a pop flash out for Dexter, and he's going to get shut down. It was just not quite within his grasp there to get a couple of frags, and fortunately for him, not even able to get one. Cold Zero coming in from Long will get rid of Gratisfaction. That's the A bomb site opened up for SK Gaming, and Dick Stacey, what a massive spray down, eventually does get rid of Fur, which helps out Greyhound a little bit, but still this retake is very, very tough, and Cold Zero shutting down the line. Dick Stacey surely cannot win this battle. Cold Zero in the end does. Yeah, as they should be. Money's not good for Greyhound right now. It was a good flash out for Dexter, but SK, they just got themselves around the corner just enough that Dexter wasn't able to get it done.
Well, they were too far apart. That's the other problem. He first wanted the frag on the player in toilets, but they jumped just a little bit too far, so he goes for the one in, tucked into the little cutout there that we can see under the toilet sign. But unfortunately, they're a little bit too far apart. The flash has worn off just enough. He can't find it. Grat was looking desperately for a frag into bathrooms, and the positions as they were, he could have lined up 2 or 3 in one shot had he been given a chance to take it. But Cold Zero, always super strong, coming through from Long, hits a quick headshot, opens up the A bomb site. And now Greyhound, there can be no tactical pause here. They've used all 4, just 22 rounds down. They will be able to get a bit of a buy up here. Well, not even, that's the M4s that was saved last time, so they're just going to go for the pistols, my mistake. But for SK, this is an opportunity to tie this map, tie the series essentially, as it all rests on Overpass now with 1 map apiece.
Urcast playing the boost, and Stewie might have had a look at that, but not for long enough, as Urcast just does pop up in time. Bit of a whack-a-mole scenario there for him, and he has whacked that mole. It's a good start to the round for Greyhound, a necessary start as well. They needed to get that advantage early on in the piece, but unfortunately, the gun might be a bit difficult to retrieve.
Well, it's retrievable, but they'll have to commit 2 players to make sure they aren't traded.
Yeah.
That's the
Well, we know it's
issue.
retrievable, but Greyhound doesn't.
Well, that's why I'm saying they have to push 2 players here. They can't just have, okay, 1 player gets the gun and the other 3 like rotate. They have to commit to multiple so that they don't get traded.
And they throw it over to Dick Stacey, the player with the extra bit of armor, which was purchased up at this round. So 3 players now with the gun and with armor for Greyhound. Admittedly, they have been a little bit shaky in the last couple, but this is still possible. It's still doable for Greyhound. SK Gaming, they've fought their way back into it, but they wouldn't want to let it slip here. They will get a buy through next, but that would put Greyhound at 13, just 1 step closer to 16.
of this round now. Very important for both teams. I feel like we've said that a lot of times, but that just is a testament to how close this series have been. The fact that there's been so many of these key rounds that just swing it one way or the other for either side. It is going to be the B play here coming out from SK Gaming. They're getting ready with the utility. The Molotovs are out. The flashbang surely soon to follow, but it's in fact a dry entry, and Bolts is going to be the first point of contact. Dixdacy shutting down.
Oh, Malta had the opportunity there as well, but he doesn't quite land the shots. Gratisfaction now has the M4. Could he deny the bomb plant? No, but he'll get a frag anyway. Fallen has been dropped. It's a 4 versus 2. coldzera needs to win this duel on the Dexter, and he needs to win a few more as well. It's a 1 versus 3. There's no utility for Grayhound, but it doesn't matter as Dixdacy hits the headshot. 2 kills out for Overpass and 2 out for Dixdacy. That was a pretty unreal round, actually, for Grayhound, considering they only had the pistols on 3 of their members.
Yeah. That first kill, obviously, on a Stewie is massive, but something I wanted to point out is Grat, he only gets 1 kill in that situation, right? But he gets 1 and gets away. So he puts the pressure on and gives SK no outlet to relieve it by getting at least 1 frag. By the time the trades come out, it's coldzera 1v3. He might be good, but he's not that good, unfortunately, with 3 players actually looking at him. He won a 1v3 on this site last year against FaZe, no less. But none of those players were looking his way when he started that epic spray down, if you recall. This time, with all 3 players looking straight at him, it's not doable. And SK, they've invested everything into this round. They need this gun round victory badly, and a fast B is on the menu.
It is, but the utility is out for Grayhound, and what on earth is that? Urkas, he goes flying.
That means they didn't spot him cross monster. They
Indeed.
won't look at this corner now because they've been there looking at it the whole round. They won't know he's here.
Oh my goodness, Stewie, he goes down, and Urkas, it's a stroke of brilliance. Almost could have gotten 2 there had he continued the spray into Monster, but Bolts will come up with the goods here for SK, and now Grayhound again are going to be on the back foot. It's all on to Dixdacy to try and hold on. However, the rotation has come across from Gratisfaction, but he's not going to be able to deny the bomb plant. That duty is going to be resting on the shoulders here of Dixdacy, and he might just be able to get into a sneaky position. A 2-man spray down there for Dixdacy. Does go down to Fallen. The trade is there, but not so for Grayhound, as we're back now into a 2 versus 2. Dexter, did he spot out Fallen? I'm not so sure that he did. Well, he has indeed. And he'll get him.
This
Now,
defuse already happened.
just Fur sitting behind the smoke. Dexter knows. And it doesn't matter. Fur doesn't even peek. 14's up for Grayhound. SK, they have no money.
That is exactly how Grayhound lost the last map. First stuck a 1v1, or
Yeah,
actually no, that was the time, but there was rounds in there where Fur, like,
Yeah, that
it was
was
the
on
half,
Mirage.
that's right, it was the half, where Fur stuck a 1v1 defuse. That's how it feels. And now Grayhound, 14 rounds up against SK, 2 away from elimination.
This is now where we get to see the mental fortitude of Grayhound. For this roster, this is the biggest match that they've ever played. And this is the biggest stage that they have ever played on.
And this is the highest pressure situation they've ever been in.
Yes.
Sure, they're 4 rounds in front, but now
That
the
doesn't
last thing
matter.
they want to think about is, oh boy, we're about to knock out SK, because that's where the jitters come in.
Exactly.
They need to keep playing the CS that they've been playing. They've been rock solid in getting these trade frags through. Dixdacy in particular has been, for me, a massive highlight player on the B-bomb site. Sure, we normally look at Grat, but Dixdacy has been fabulous at, like, the 1 kill and the stay alive. In that round, the double spray to make the retake more doable. He's done so well on that B side at staying alive once the hit comes in. And for SK, the money is not good at all. They've got drops out. It's AKs and Galils. But for Grayhound, they've got themselves a bit of cash. It's not the best, but it's much more than SK has.
Yep. Grayhound cannot be resting on their laurels here, though. If they give SK a way back into this map, you can bet your bottom dollar, Tim, that SK is going to be taking that
Absolutely.
and bringing us back to 14-14, maybe even coming away with a 16-14 victory. SK is not the kind of a side that you want to count out of a matchup, even despite being down.
They never lay down and die this roster until they are put down.
Grayhound might be just the ones to do that. What a crazy day one it would be if Grayhound comes away with the win here. Gratisfaction playing the close angle. Fallen will go down. Gratisfaction to get out of there alive as well. Some nice bunny hopping. And he gets the incendiary down as well. The push out from Stewie. Gratisfaction stepping up now in this round for Grayhound. He'll get the smoke down here, but he's still sort of isolated. Needs the help, the backup of Dixdacy, who is hanging around but gets taken down by Fur. Grat can't land the shot. We're back to a 3 versus 3, but look at the positioning now of Dexter. Bolts has no idea. No one has any idea. coldzera surely goes down here. Dexter biding his time. He should be able to get 2. Is it even going to be 3? No, it's only 1. In the end, 1 might be enough, though, as it allows the time for the rotation to come across for Grayhound. Just coldzera now, 1 versus 2. He's got the M4. Malta is low, but Urcast is close. And if he tries to plant the bomb, coldzera surely will go down. In the end, Urcast gets the job done. SK Gaming have just dropped that 15th round to Grayhound. They don't have money to get a full buy through here, Tim. Grayhound need 1 round to knock SK Gaming out of IEM Sydney on day 1.
1 single round. SK Gaming need 5 to bring this back. The buy is garbage as it has been for rounds now. Grayhound very happy on the rifles in the AWP. They're making the plays, they're feeling confident, and they're hitting their shots. It all comes down to just 1 round. Potentially Grayhound 5 frags away from eliminating the champions of last year's IEM Sydney.
It's unimaginable. It's impossible here that Grayhound come away with a victory, but they're on the precipice of being able to do that. With this kind of a buy, Grayhound are in the driver's seat of this round. SK Gaming, they are going to have to work their butts off super hard to get back into it. And it would be a magnificent victory for Australian CS, not just for Grayhound, but in general.
Renegades and Grayhound both getting big upset victories on day number 1, but let's not get ahead of ourselves, Jordan. I feel like we have good potential to do it here. It is 15-10, but let's wait for the kills to start coming in. If they do go this way for Grayhound, they've at least bought themselves overtime, so the pressure is off now. There's no worries about a 16-14 loss choke here. They've got 15, and they've got a bit of money behind them as well. Not the best, but they'll be able to recontest within a round if they do lose this one. But SK, they haven't found anything out anywhere on the map just yet. They've taken connector control. They're contacting water. It's going to be a single pop flash. But here comes the utility. The molly hasn't landed, and Urcast will call this out. Here comes the frags.
One more assault onto the B bomb site. Stewie dispatches of Urcast. It's a big frag for SK Gaming. It means that there's no one left in the site there for Grayhound to cause any havoc, but the bomb is going up onto the A bomb site. Grayhound, they've been completely fooled, so have I. But the kill does come out for Malta. It's still going to need to be a retake on the A bomb site here for Grayhound, and they're hightailing their way back up to that bomb site. But Fur, pushing aggressively, might just be able to shut this round down by himself, decides better of it, and backs off again into the site. Grayhound have only a couple of avenues to funnel in through. Fallen has already taken a big chunk of damage, but Fur shuts down Dick Stacey and Malta. This might not be the end just yet for SK Gaming as Grayhound, they slink away back to the B bomb site, try to save these guns, but look who's waiting for them.
Formerly the world's best, coldzera is waiting to mop up some guns, and he's not going to find the first. Dexter comes through with a very quick save, but for SK,
that's actually really important, by the way.
Fabulous. Yeah, exactly. The money's not great, so saving the guns is great. But that is a really good mid-round call for SK, because if you recall, they have gone B with that exact set of utility, taking that first engagement in through water. That's what they've done pretty much every single round they've gone B. That is the carbon copy of the setup, but they get the first frag, and I do believe that getting that first frag is what causes them to call that rotation, right? Because if they don't get the first frag, they commit, they try and trade, they just take B. The fact that they get the first frag, they know that the rotation is coming because Grayhound have faced down this exact situation so many times before. Fallen has the presence of mind to call a rotate back to A. I mean, of course, that could have been the plan all along, but regardless, it's a fabulous adjustment. It catches Grayhound with their pants down, and while the buy is here for them again, SK are not out of this yet.
And it's not as good of a buy this time for Grayhound, a far better one for SK. Bolts looks like he's taken a shot there from Gratisfaction, though, a leg or through the wall, something. He's lost quite a significant chunk of his HP, so SK at a deficit to start things off. And look at the positioning of Urcast. He's going to find Bolts. What on earth is going on here for Grayhound? They've gotten such considerable map control and a player advantage now. Once again, this matchup rests in the favor of Grayhound.
That's risky for Grat, but he will get away. And they're not going to do what he wants it to, or what Urcast wants it to, but at least they still remain in the 4v5. They don't drop the AWP. Boost's going to come out for barrels, but wisely, Grayhound, they're not playing anyone there. They're going for the water hold instead. Fur can also look heaven here, but he falls off it, and they've heard that drop too, which is why the spray comes through there. And for SK, 50 seconds. Still a full set of utility. Still time. The B-bomb side looks to be the port of call for Grayhound. Can it be one final B hold to take this map, to knock SK out? It all comes down to the push.
Fallen is down. It's 3 versus 5 for SK Gaming to come into the site with 30 seconds to work with. Stewie, it's an important frag. coldzera, another one, but the trades are there for Grayhound. 25 seconds left on the clock, and Gratisfaction is watching the cross. It's going to be tough to get that bomb in, but the flash is good. They still have another player to play with on the side as well. Dick Stacey and Urcast holding on to it. The spot is out. Stewie coming up absolutely massive in this round, but Dick Stacey hits the shot, and Urcast, he could just pop up here and deny the bomb plan. In the end, he might be able to do it. He's done it! Grayhound, it's going to be 16-11. They've done the impossible, Tim. SK Gaming will be knocked out of IEM Sydney on day 1. A sensational performance from Grayhound, and that is a massive, massive win for Grayhound. I am utterly astounded.
SK Gaming are going home. I cannot believe I've said these words. That is massive. In the blue denim jacket there, sneaking in the camera shot, is the owner of Grayhound. He's going to be ecstatic. And indeed, as you can see there in center of frame, Dick Stacey.
Well,
looking a bit hot and bothered, looking pressured, but
I feel like I'm a little bit hot and bothered right now.
Cannot believe what we're seeing here, but SK Gaming are out.
What on earth have I just witnessed? Honestly, this is a crazy, crazy day for Australian CS. Renegades getting the win over FaZe. Now, Grayhound over SK Gaming, knocking SK Gaming out. The former champions of IEM Sydney are gone. 2017 to 2018, what a difference a year makes. But that is just incredible from Grayhound. It's one of the biggest wins from Australian CS, as far as I'm concerned.
That now means that Grayhound, do they have to play FaZe? I can't remember how the bracket works. No, they wouldn't have to.
Grayhound will progress on through the losers bracket.
Yeah, that's true, they will too. Yeah. So, man, that's again, it's a massive win. Haven't done the maths in my head yet on who they'll be playing, but they've knocked out SK. That is such a huge result from them, and I am sure they are completely ecstatic with that. I'm bamboozled. That's ridiculous.
If it was going to be anyone from Australia, obviously barring Renegades, but from the local domestic scene, it was going to be Greyhounds. They have been the best team in the region for probably since the start of the year. Domestically speaking, even including APAC, one could make an argument that they're the best team in that one as well, despite losing to MVP PK in the Pro League finals. But yeah, if it was going to be anyone, it was going to be Greyhound. It's just the fashion in which this has come across. You would never have expected it. We thought maybe they could beat C9, but SK, I mean, yeah, SK has been having some troubles recently, but even still, I mean, this is SK we're talking about.
That's ludicrous. A real kick in the guts for this new SK roster, because the phrase for them, and I'm going to use it again here, I think it still applies, but the thing for them recently has been give them time. Give them time to work with Stewie. Give them time to get used to communicating in English. Give them time to get the new structure. And I still think that's the case. Like, given the caliber of player that Stewie is, I still think this SK roster can put the pieces together and make this work. But
to be knocked out like that,
they will not be doing it at IEM Sydney.
They win one map at IEM Sydney. That is absolutely
a best
crazy.
of 3 that they lose.
Absolutely nuts. Anyway, look, let's just take a step back here and have a look and see how things have gone throughout the day, Tim, because it has been a very nuts day. And well, we thought that match between NRG and Astralis was going to be the best one that we got to see today. It's definitely not been 1917. It was good.
Goodness.
But then FaZe goes into triple overtime against Renegades, and Renegades ends up winning. And now Greyhound get the upset victory over SK. Having a look across all of the results there, it's going to be just absolutely insane how the rest of this match, or the rest of this series does play out, or the rest of this tournament, I should say. God, I'm even having trouble getting my words out right now.
It's
you guys have to understand what a big moment this really is for Australian CS.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's still another match going on that A stream. That's Tyloo versus Cloud9. I have no update right now for you as to how that match is going, but if you want to watch it, just go to ESL_CSGO and tune into that one. Yeah, it's, oh, goodness me. I'm almost lost for words, Tim, which is really bad in this line of work.
It is, but I think it's justified in that case. I think that is the biggest win that Australian CS has had. Of course, Renegades have certainly done well, but in terms of domestic talent, like Chiefs beat North last year. That was one map.
That was massive.
Now we've had Greyhound taking out SK, like in a best of 3. It's on another level.
Yeah, it is on another level. We'll take a quick look back at the results from our stream today as well. Things, apart from obviously that Tyloo versus SK result, kind of went to plan. Chiefs didn't really get too much done against Fnatic. Boot, again, couldn't get much done against Mouse Sports. And for Order, it was all too familiar territory up against FaZe. But, well, Tyloo started it and Greyhound finished it. As you can see there, 2-1 for Greyhound to close out the day over SK. That means Order and Greyhound are still alive. Legacy and SK have now been eliminated from IEM Sydney.
Imagine putting Legacy and SK in the same sentence for the same reason.
It's
for anything.
Insane. Insane.
Goodness
I don't know what to say, Tim, to be honest. But I'm sure the Greyhound guys are going to be very ecstatic about how that match has gone. The job not done, though, for them, really. They're still in the lower bracket. They've still got some really tough matches ahead of them. So while they can celebrate tonight, they need to make sure that they don't rest on their laurels. They don't sit there and think, great, we've gotten rid of SK, the job's done. They still need to come back tomorrow and play more matches, and they are still on the precipice of being knocked out.
Exactly.
There's only one match between them and going home.
They have one life in a best of 3, but they've certainly started out the correct way today. As you say, the job nowhere near done. If you look at the caliber of the other teams who still remain in this competition, there is certainly some big threats that will be floating around in that lower bracket, but they've avoided elimination here, and that's the start.
Yeah, it would be absolutely insane to see Greyhound get through this lower bracket as well. I mean, they're going to have to, inevitably, if they do go through, I think they're actually up against FaZe because FaZe gets knocked down from the top side of the bracket.
Yeah, that's what I thought was
and
happening.
and then now Greyhound is on the bottom side of the lower bracket. So I'm pretty sure it swaps, which would mean Greyhound now has to go through FaZe, if I'm not mistaken. Regardless, even if that's not the case, when they do get to the final, you'd have to imagine that they'll be going up against FaZe there, if not in that next match. So it's still a tough road ahead here for Greyhound, but I almost want to sort of entertain the belief that we might get 2 Australian teams through to the arena. That would be incredible.
Yeah, on the other hand, it's tough, right? Because if it is Greyhound versus FaZe, on the one hand, I really want to see FaZe do well here because not only did they come second at last IEM Sydney, not only did they come second at IEM Katowice just gone, they have been second at the last 4 Intel Extreme Masters tournaments. A win for them here would be really important to finally end this streak of second places they've been having. And given their recent run of form, I think just getting into the grand final would be fabulous for them now that they don't have Olaf, now that they do have Exist.
Yeah, well, look, Tim, we'll have to see how everything does play out. That's really for tomorrow, I guess. For now, we're almost done with our stream here on the B stream. We've got one more thing, though, to have a look at, Tim. The best play of today is the Vodafone Play Faster moment. We'll have a look and see what our replay is. And if I have any idea about it, I think it's going to be Bentet.
Yes.
And it was a bad day for SK. This is just one of the many moments that really did not go too well for them. Bentet, a great 3-man kill there, which really shuts down the round in and of itself. But have a look at this then. He just goes in and cleans it up as well. It was... I mean, look, this is just Bentet being Bentet.
It is. And admittedly, I think we could have had a play faster moment from our final series there
I'm
as
sure,
well.
I'm
Several of
sure.
them. But it is fitting thematically that was still SK getting bodied by a team that they never should have lost to. So I think it's thematically appropriate and very unfortunate.
When you
for an
think
SK
about it,
fan.
how many times have Tyloo gone up against SK in like the first round of a tournament and gotten just obliterated?
Just Tyloo against any good team in the first
Yeah,
round of a
exactly.
tournament.
But
They have
now
bad
they've
luck.
gotten their revenge. And Greyhound is going to be getting a pat on the back, I think, from Tyloo. They said, look, you know, enemy of my enemy is my friend. And so Tyloo and Greyhound, they have worked together in this one and
Taking down
dispatched
the big boss.
one of the biggest names here at IEM Sydney.
Exactly that, SK going home. I know we've said SK going home about 57 times in the last 3 minutes, and I apologize, but if you're a fan
You have
of
to just
CS
keep
and you're
reminding
watching
yourself,
this,
right?
Like, I think everyone at home understands just how big of a thing this is.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter who it is. Even if FaZe knocked out SK in this situation, if that was somehow how the bracket had worked out, I'd still be surprised. But the fact that it's an underdog team, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Completely.
Look, Tim, that's it for today here from the B stream. Let's just have a look and see what's coming up tomorrow, though, on the main stream before we do say goodnight. NRG versus Boot. It's going to be one of the lower round matches as well, and both of those 2 teams facing elimination should they lose that one. Mouse versus Astralis, and then G2 versus Fnatic.
There's some real
Upper
good
bracket
games.
matches. So everyone, a lot to play for. They're all best of 3s, by the way, so big matches coming out on the A stream tomorrow.
Yes, indeed. I think NRG versus Boot maybe isn't going to be as competitive, but Mouse versus Astralis, G2 versus Fnatic, those are exciting games.
Mouse versus Astralis for me is probably the biggest game of tomorrow, at least out of those groups, out of that group there, to be honest. I think, you know, both of those 2 teams really, like, they contest for number 1 and number 2 in the world right now. Astralis, obviously, they just won DreamHack Marseille, but everyone was talking about Mouse going into that, and maybe Mouse were not even really quite happy with the result that they got there. They would have maybe even been wanting a little bit more than that. And now is an opportunity for them to, you know, bring Astralis back a peg.
Yeah, exactly that. So that's going to be, I think, a very tense game, but they should all be very entertaining there on the A stream.
Yeah, and on the B stream, we'll have a look and see what's coming up for us as well there. Chiefs versus MVP, one that we actually haven't seen too much of because obviously we've watched a lot of Asian and Australian CS recently and at the Pro League finals, but Chiefs was not there. So this is another one of those little missing pieces that we do get to pick up and have a look at, which should be quite an exciting one. To be decided versus Order. I suppose the loser of this matchup that's going on the A stream.
C9 and Tyloo.
Either C9 or Tyloo to be going up against Order there, and then FaZe versus Greyhound. As we expected, it's a tough road ahead here for Greyhound, but they're one step on the way on the yellow brick road, and we'll see if they can manage to continue their good steps forward tomorrow.
Well, indeed. And look, they've started off the right way. I think if Greyhound, even if they get knocked out by FaZe 2-0 or something tomorrow, I think they cannot be upset with the run that they've had so far. This is a very big win for them, but that's all to be decided tomorrow.
Yeah, that is all to be decided for tomorrow. For today, like I said, that's all for us here on the B stream. If you guys want to see more CS coming out here from IEM Sydney, there is still some going on right now. It's Tyloo versus Cloud9 on the main stream. ESL_CSGO is where you will find that one. But for us here on the B stream for tonight, we'll bid you good night.